And time now for a look at your weather forecast. It was a beautiful day outside. Brittany?
Well, Siobhan, I'm back, first of all. Sorry about the mic issues earlier, but I'm here to tell you about a lot of heat and a lot of humidity that thankfully is starting to settle down as we head into the next few days. Okay, so today, 92 degrees officially at the airport, making it even hotter than where we were yesterday. Now, if you're asking yourselves, do we normally see 90s this time of year? You can. Our average latest is the 12th, which was last Friday. So it's certainly not abnormal to see a 90-degree day here on September 20th. But if you're like me, a little bit over the heat and humidity, it is certainly a day where you might not want it to be that toasty. In fact, our record is only about 5 degrees within here, about 97 for this date. Now, again, not everybody hit 90, upper 80s there for Morganton, Hickory over toward Lincolnton, but you know when Boone even gets to 80 degrees, it's pretty toasty out there. Clouds beginning to increase over the last few hours, though have dropped us from that 92 degree down to about 85. Dew point is a little bit more comfortable this afternoon, and that will stay that way throughout tomorrow in the upper 50s. And so with those drier conditions, we are still not expecting any rain here in the Charlotte area. I mentioned yesterday, last night here on WCNC Plus, as well as on WCNC Charlotte, that I had dropped the rain chances from 20% for Charlotte, that even though we had a small chance for area south, it looked very unlikely we were going to see them for the metro. And of course, we're continuing that trend through the second half of the weekend before finally seeing some better rain chances by the end of this week. And so with that being said, you can see the frontal boundary that did pop up a few showers there for the mountains, but then notice a slow cluster of storms a little bit further south of Charlotte. Thankfully not dealing with any of that mess here locally. It's all staying toward Columbia and areas down toward Charleston, Florence, South Carolina as well. So again, not expecting any rain here in the Charlotte area, but we do still have that small chance for areas south and southeast of the city. Staying nice and dry throughout tomorrow morning. Again, a few more clouds expected, but not a bad day to get out to watch some Panthers football. Of course, they'll be taking on the Falcons for their home opener. And again, it's not going to be bad at all. In fact, tomorrow with more clouds, temperatures won't be quite as toasty. So today we got to 92. Tomorrow my forecast is about 87. So a 5-degree difference. I know we talked about this as well. Well, we talk about it every year, but also on WCNC Plus. So remember that during Live Weather Impact, we get that chance to go more into the details, I guess you could say, about the forecast. But tomorrow, because the game, of course, is a 1 o'clock kickoff, please make sure that you know where your seats are at Bank of America Stadium. Because if you've never been before, when you're on the visitor side, especially this time of year, because we're so close to summer, so the sun angle is much higher, especially for a 1 o'clock game, you really have the sun angle very high right over you. And so in the direct sunshine, it can feel anywhere from 10 to even 20 degrees warmer. So very quickly, 86 can feel like 96 to 106. So make sure you're dressing accordingly. In layers is probably your best bet. And thankfully, again, you won't have any rain to worry about. So no ponchos, no, I guess they don't let umbrellas, but again, no rain gear needed for tomorrow. And 87 is warmer than normal for this time of year, but it is not a record here in the Queen City. In fact, our hottest Panthers home opener ever was about 6 years ago, back in 2019, 93. And we did hit 89 a few times. You can see 2018, 2008, as well as 1997. But at least here, we're going to be a few degrees lower than that. But I do think it's important to note that we're still pretty close. So it could be worse. In the tropics, got to give an update here. Of course, we're entering the end of September. Tropical storm Gabrielle looking a lot better on satellite today. It is still a tropical storm with winds sustained of 65 miles per hour, but still heading out to sea. Could become a hurricane at some point, but again, is no threat to us here in the Carolinas. No threat even to Bermuda. So at this point, land interaction is not expected unless, as it becomes post-tropical, it could eventually make it to the UK. We do see that oftentimes this time of year with those storms, but typically it's the leftover energy. Other than Gabrielle, we are tracking one small area of low pressure there, 20% chance of development over the next 7 days. This one just came off the coast of Africa 2 days ago, so it's well away from us, hundreds, thousands of miles away. This one looks to take a similar path, similar trajectory, heading out to sea. However, we do want to remind folks that even though there's nothing to watch right now, it is a time of year still our team is keeping a very close eye on not just the Atlantic Ocean, but also the Caribbean as well as the Gulf. And the reason why is because this time of year heading into September and October, if you see all the green, we start to see less wind shear and less dry air. So oftentimes that allows for a small chance. Again, a small chance is all sometimes a tropical system needs in order to potentially form. So Right now, we watch kind of the middle and eastern part of the Atlantic Basin for development, but we really start to shift eyeballs late September, early October, again, as well to the Western Caribbean and the Gulf. That can be different year to year. What we say when we look at these areas, we're just talking climatology, which means the typical spots that a storm could form this time of year. And this time last year, we were watching an area of interest that eventually became Hurricane Helene. So we are coming up on the anniversary on WCNC Plus as well as on WCNC Charlotte. We'll have a lot of stories of, the build back, of the recovery coming up this week. So hopefully you'll tune in for those and see some of, the devastation, yes, which is terrible, but also some of the positive stories, right, that can come out of such a tragedy. Gabrielle, of course, is our G name. Umberto will be the next storm name up on the list if we do get a new tropical system from that low area I just showed you there. Here's your Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. You can see temperatures again tomorrow, mid to upper 80s. Won't necessarily feel like autumn on Monday, but it is the autumnal equinox, the fall equinox at 2:16 or 2:19, that is. Tiny little text there. Got to remember that in my brain. I will say, of course, for meteorologists, our fall began on September 1st, but I know not everybody celebrates that. It definitely won't feel like fall for the first few days. As you can see, those temperatures again close to 90 by Wednesday, but then eventually better rain chances returning to the forecast area Thursday, Friday, and into the first half of the weekend. Maybe not ideal for some of those outdoor plans, but we do need the rain. So as long as it's not a significant widespread rain event, will take a little rain here and there.